So, yes, I've been talking a lot lately about how to be a visible writer. And in fact, as this posts, I will be in New York City teaching the visible writer class at Thriller Fest. Um, but it also makes me think, being at that conference, how important your writing community is to being visible. And I don't just mean having writer friends that you can vent to, or people who understand the ups and downs, although that's totally important, because that's what keeps you sane. And I've leaned on many people over the years to compare notes with. But I think more importantly, it's also just about viewing your community in the writing world as your ecosystem. These are the people who are going to remember you. These are going to potentially be lifelong friends. They're the ones who are going to recommend your book when somebody asks what to read next. And don't discount how important word of mouth is. They're the ones who think of you when a blurb opportunity comes up or when you need a blurb. And they'll be the ones who are going to just share your work without even you asking. And none of that happens if you're not part of the community, if you're being invisible, if you are home alone all the time, just writing and not making those connections. And a lot of writers do isolate. They put their head down, they work on their book, and they come up for air when they have to. Um, but if you haven't really been part of that conversation within the community, there's nothing for people to latch onto. I think even for best-selling authors, they need to be at conferences. They need to be visible. They need to have people see the person behind the words, because community is what keeps you present in people's minds, and it compounds over time. You start showing up consistently. You start supporting other writers, and you have real conversations. And it's not a "what can you do for me" kind of transaction with other writers. It's just about being engaged with like-minded people. And over time, I can guarantee you all of that turns into opportunities. You'll get asked to be an in-conversation partner for somebody's book launch. You get invited to a panel, either as a panelist or maybe even a moderator. You just get pulled into spaces where you are going to start to become more visible to readers simply by being visible with a community of other writers. And it's not about chasing it, and it's not about doing it in a cynical way. It's about creating relationships organically by just showing up to places where other writers are. Because you just can't show up only when you need something. You can't disappear for 6 months and then expect people to all of a sudden come and rally around your launch. It just doesn't work like that. It's about making connection, and over time, that connection absolutely turns into momentum. I've seen it with myself. Again, I've been writing for 20 years, and I say yes to as many things as possible. And there's a lot of stuff that I do that forces me in front of a lot of people, and it's not always comfortable. But the more you do it, the easier it gets. And now when I think about the relationships that I've developed over time, the people I can go to, the people who support me, who have big voices, it really makes a huge difference. So get out there, find your people, be visible.